Hello everyone, it's Drek Gaming here, and today we're going to be going into the 4-4-1-1 in EAFC 26. This is the most balanced but yet underrated formation in this game, just because it gives you, two solid lines of fours at the defense and the midfield. You know what I mean? And at the same time, with this setup, it gives you that balance or good link between your defense and your attack without having to leave any part of the pitch unattended to. And that's why for me I think it's the most balanced formation. And at the same time, even if you want to start your play from the center of the pitch and then pretty much expand it to the wings, you can with this formation without, opening yourself up for a quick counter attack or anything. And at the same time, depending on what kind of gameplay you play, even if it's a slow gameplay or a fast gameplay, this setup is definitely going to be one that you need to try out. So without wasting too much of your time, let's get right into it. Here is the code of this setup right there on the screen for you. I will also leave it in the description. That way, if you can just copy it from there and just use it depending on what platform you play on. So we are going to go straight into the tactical part of this formation. The formation is the 4-4-1-1 midfield, the one that gives you two center mids and your left and right midfield. The build up style is balanced. I did try counter. I actually tried counter with this formation because, of course, the game is brand new, so I didn't know what to expect. And counter, I kind of noticed, yes, they were maintaining the position of the formation. They were all maintaining it, but I just noticed that I was just sitting too deep. They weren't really expressing themselves when it comes to, attacking my opponent, because they're just sitting deep, waiting for my opponent to make a mistake. Like the approach says, this encourages the players to get in behind the position defense as the team transitions quickly from defense to attack. But when I got the ball, of course, they were moving really fast. But, that's kind of not my play. I like to work my way up to my opponent. So balance was actually better, because it varies between forward runs and coming short, just like the description of balance says. So this actually worked well, and I'm really happy that in this game now they've actually kind of make the AI movement better compared to the 25. Now the defensive approach, I put it on 70. I did start with 50, by the way, but they were just, when it comes to my defense, sitting that deep was a problem to me. So I had to move it up a little bit. And this is where I always say, when you get a formation from anyone online, the pro players or anyone, you always have to remember that person is giving you the formation based on how they play. You know what I mean? It works best for them because they play that way, or but you have to always understand you're not that person. So anytime you get a formation, I always say this in my previous videos, you have to always tweak it a little bit so that it fits your gameplay. You might be one that maybe if you like to attack aggressively, and if you lose the ball and your high line, like defending the tumor, and it opens you up for a counter or an open one-on-one, then at that point maybe you might have to bring the defensive approach down for you so that your players kind of your defense line kind of sits a little deeper. So again, I'm giving you what worked for me. You know what I mean? It could work for you if you play the same way I play, but at the same time, just tweak it. This is just to give you a foundation. Okay? So so I think that's about it when it comes to the tactical part of this formation. All right, we're gonna get into the player roles. I'm gonna start from the keeper and move my way up. When it comes to the keeper role, you're just gonna have the role on sweeper, keeper. The focus will be on balanced. Nothing crazy about that. It's very simple. Same thing with the center backs as well. You want both your center backs to be on defend. One thing I noticed about the center backs is their movement is really good. I like the way they track back as far as you don't break that defensive line, because that's very, very important. You do not want to break your defensive line. You want to keep that line as compact as possible and as straight as possible, because the AI movement this year is really, really great. And it's just something that at least I'm happy that EA has listened to the community and kind of fixed that. Now your fullback, I had both fullbacks on, both left back and right back on fullback and defend. Nothing changed with them as well. I did actually try versatile with them, but with versatile, as you can see here, the highlighted map when I was up against the 4-2-1-3, which is the meta formation in 25, which everybody knows it as, they were always 9 times out of 10 behind my opponent. So I was always hit with them tracking back, trying to kind of like chasing the attacker, the left wing or the right wing of my opponent, and I didn't like that. So I'd rather just have them just stay back here. No need for them to go up. I don't need them moving out of position. I might try it maybe when I'm doing like a role that I have CDMs. I might actually try versatile again, but for this formation, you want to just keep everyone fullback and center backs on defender defend. You want to keep everybody defender defend, your left back, right back defend, fullback defend for your left and right back. Now moving up to the midfield, both midfielders, I had them doing 2 different roles. I had one of them, the more defensive one, as like I always like doing. I like having the more defensive one to play a more defensive role, and in this case she was on holding defend, and luckily for me I have Sega. She has the plus role, which was really, really good for me. So you want to have her on holding and defend for one of your midfielders, and then the other one, you can have the other one on deep line playmaker and builder, because if you see on the highlighted map here, you could see that the green area is where they occupy, which means, at some point I noticed that he did assist with the attack, even though in my case I had Rodri. He's really slow. He's slow. And he's really slow at tracking back, but he did the job. Because I had the other one on holding, so that one, the one who's on holding, is always my first line of defense. You know what I mean? I just always have to track down and cover up, while the other one who was assistant on the attack kind of tracks back to help out. And that definitely gave me that solid balance, even though they're not CDMs, but I was able to use them as CDMs. And now both of my left midfield and my right midfield, I had both of them on inside forward balanced. Nothing changed. Luckily for me, I do have these guys on plus, which is really good. Though when I actually used this formation earlier this week, I did not have them. But from the weekly packs that I got, I was able to finesse and get these guys in, which is really good. Now, your cam, this is the key to this formation. Now, when it comes to your cam, you want to have a player that knows how to pass. Like, he's a very good passer and can dribble, pretty much can do everything, can act as a striker if put in that situation. Because your cam, if you look at the highlighted part on the maps, they will be pretty much all over the place. As you can see, they're going to be in their natural position. They could track back. They could also assist with the play. They could start the counters for you as well. So you gotta look at it like when your wingers, are making those forward runs, right? You already know that your cam is going to be pretty much a pivot point, where you could start to play with them and dish it out, and don't forget, you still have your striker. So you definitely, with this, once you can start to play from either your deep line playmaker center midfield or your holding center midfield, pass it on to your cam. By that time, your left midfielder or your right midfielder, they'll be making forward runs depending on which side of the pitch you're playing on, right? And then from there, you can either dish it up and they'll make those runs, or you could kind of like, just play it out with your striker. Like, you have options as far as this player is there. And one thing I think I'm really going to do this year is I'm going to play with formation that will really give me an option of a cam, because I do like the AI movement this year. It is really, really good. But other than that, then also your striker, nothing changes on the striker. Advanced forward attack. I haven't tried the versatile yet, but from what I'm seeing on the highlighted part, they're going to be pretty much dishing out the wings. So I think if I want to use versatile, I would have to have 2 strikers. So maybe when I'm using like a formation that gives me 2 strikers, I might actually try, with the versatile. But for now, I just kept it simple with attack. And honestly, it was really working out for me. Now, types of players you could use. For your wingers, you want players that are pacey, that are pacey. That's it. That is something you have to have: pacey and agile. Those 2 options, those 2 traits are very important for your wingers, because these are the people that are gonna pretty much open up the midfield, open up your opponent's defense. So you need players that are very agile and fast, because that way, if you want to hit them with the fast counter, you have it. Now, also looking at your center midfield, you want at least if you can have one who's agile. Now, in my case, in this situation, it's a little weird. Sega is the more agile one compared to Rodri, but she has the plus role, and that's why I'm using her. But if you want to use her, right, if you want to use her, I would recommend you use her in a more place that she's actually more assisting with the attack. I'm just doing this, just because she has the plus role. And you know me, I've always been big about having a player play in a plus role, regardless of if that's favorable for me or not. As far as I see the plus, I'm going to play them on the plus role, because that is very, very important. Rodri, I just got him. I didn't have him when I was using this formation, so he wasn't actually there. But then also your center backs, again, you want center backs that are fast. You want to have center backs that are fast. It's weird that I'm using 2 females, because I'm not going to lie to you. This year, I'm thinking that the female center backs are going to be really, really OP. So Leah Williamson and Millie Bright, they have been really great for me. They're very fast, and they might not be as strong, though Bright does have the bruiser trait, which is really good. Kurela, he does the job. You want your left back or your right back to also have that pace as well. And then of course your keeper, any keeper trait that they might have will definitely do the job, at least for now, since the game is still new. The game hasn't really unfolded, so you can kind of get by with anything. But other than that, that's it. I don't think there's anything else I am missing. Again, here is the code for those of you who want to just copy the code and copy and paste. Here it is right there on the screen for you. So I think, that's it. I don't think there's anything else that I am missing. If there is anything else, or if there's any information that you want me to do, just please let me know in the comment section. I will definitely look into it and see if it's something I can handle. I mean, I don't think I shouldn't be able to handle, because it's there, it's a game, we're just going to play it and have fun. But other than that, if this video helped you in any way, please, all I ask is do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe button for me, and also turn on notifications. We do have weekly content coming out on different formations. I think the next formation I might be doing will be the 4-2-1-3, which is the meta formation, because I've actually been working on it on the side, so I'm gonna try that one out. So I should have that video coming out for you guys next week. But other than that, everybody have a good day and happy gaming, and I will see you on the next one.